Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
And good afternoon, everyone. Phil Penarski here with the News 8 Live Desk. Hope you're having a great day so far. Nobody likes thinking about the possibility of having their home foreclosed on, but it is important to know a little bit about how the process works. Thankfully for us, though, we happen to have a business reporter who answered all of those questions. Madeline Bersma joins us once again on the live desk to talk all about her latest story that delves into the world of foreclosures. Madeline, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And first things first, we got to ask just, why was this a topic that you really wanted to investigate in the first place and enough to really go all out and make this incredible story?
Yeah, so our assignment desk manager had found this court case involving a couple homes that had been foreclosed on prior to 2020. So prior to a Michigan Supreme Court decision in 2020, if your home was foreclosed on due to the non-payment of taxes, the county would take your home, they'd foreclose on it, they'd auction it off, and then they would keep all of those proceeds. Regardless of how much taxes you owed and how much they sold it, they would keep all of that profit. Mm-hmm. In 2020, the Michigan Supreme Court said that that was unconstitutional, and last year the U.S. Supreme Court said that that was also unconstitutional. So this court case was trying to get those surplus funds back for these homeowners. It really piqued my interest. I really wanted to see what that system looked like prior to 2020, what that system looks like now, and just how are those homeowners getting those profits after that Michigan Supreme Court ruling.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And, we kind of touched on it, of course, how important this topic might be. Not everybody has ever had somebody they know be in this situation, but you never know what could happen. You never know. I don't think anybody goes into getting a home or anything like that thinking that this could happen, but you want to be prepared just in case it does. And so we obviously want everybody to go ahead and read this article. There's a ton of awesome, important information for them. But Madeline, can you give us a highlight of just some of the things that you found out during your research or some of the interviews you did as well that really stood out to you or you think that people in particular should be checking out in this specific story?
Yeah, so I talked to a couple of key players in this issue. I talked to some county treasurers who handled those foreclosures with the Michigan Association of County Treasurers, and they had a lot of really good insight into what this process looks like now and all the work that they put into to try to stop foreclosures from happening in the first place. I also talked to some attorneys who are dealing with these court cases, including the attorney that took this issue all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and just talked to her about just her experience in the U.S. Supreme Court, because she told me that it had been her dream since she was a kid to be able to argue something there. So there's so much to go into in this story. It's a long piece. I probably could have added even more just because it's such a complicated issue. Mm-hmm. But there's just so much to check out in that article just about this topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I want to bring up the article right now for everybody who really hasn't gotten the chance to check it out. This is what it looks like over on our website right now. And everybody, it is available. You can go check it out right now. And you'd still be able to hear this conversation between Madeline and myself as well if you want to. And again, this article, pretty long piece, but a lot of great information in there. Talk to us a little bit about how difficult this might have been for to put this together. As I've said, as you said, there's a lot of different things. You could have also added a whole lot more information to this as well, but just being able to piece it all together, make sure it flows evenly, and also include all of these different numbers and information. I mean, what was that like?
It was definitely a really long process. I think this is the longest time I ever worked on a piece. I had my first interview for this back in April. So it was a really long process to try to piece together everything. It felt like every time I would find one court case or one court decision that was important, I'd find another one and another one. So it was a lot to wade through and to try to figure out what that process actually looks like, and a lot of emailing back and forth with the county treasurers to make sure I actually understood what was going on. Mm-hmm. But it was really fun to try to put pieces together into an article that made sense, and there's a lot of information in there to delve into.
Mm-hmm. Right now, I wanted to show everybody just some of the sub-headlines that are all over the story, just so they can kind of get an idea of some of the topics that you really spend a lot of time investigating and looking more into. And one thing I also really like about this is that there are a lot of cool graphics, but also a really awesome interactive graph for people to check out as well. And I want to pull that back up again just for everybody watching. Madeline, talk a little bit more about just what this exactly tells and why it's so important to include this in the article.
Yeah, so the Michigan Association of County Treasurers provided me with foreclosure data for every county in the state going back to 2018. So looking at those rates of how many people are actually getting foreclosed on, and it's really low. The rates in most of the counties are super low, maybe like an average of 3%. So I talked to them just again about that process of what they do to try to keep people in their homes and to keep them out of what they said is the tragedy of a foreclosure. And they said it's a 3-year-long process. There's a lot of steps along the way to try to keep them in their homes, and those rates are pretty low. So if you check out that graph, you can check out the rates in your county and see what's going on there.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's really interesting to also see just kind of how they relate to really the statewide look at it as well. I mean, you've got Otto County, for an example, right here, kind of making that U shape, but if you compare it to the statewide, kind of that same shape. But then if we went to Allegan a little bit earlier, as you can see, it's making a little bit of a peak in the middle there in 2020. So definitely something to check out. I encourage everybody, if you're going to do anything with this story besides check it out and read it in its entirety, definitely want to spend a little bit of time with that graph and just see all the different examples that Madeline has included in there. And definitely a lot has happened since you first published this, Madeline, yesterday. It's been trending on our website a bunch. Has anybody reached out to you? I mean, what has sort of been the overall response, whether it's been seeing the numbers on this story or responses you've gotten just from people that have gotten the chance to check it out finally?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by how many people have been interested in this topic and how many people have been reading. Like you said, it's been trending on the website. It sounds like people are really enjoying getting a comprehensive look at this really complicated topic and getting maybe a better understanding of what's happening when it comes to foreclosures in the state of Michigan. So if you want to learn more about what this process looks like, I definitely encourage you to check the piece out.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely. I second that opinion totally, Madeline. Thank you so much for stopping by. And again, everybody that wants to check out this story, you can find it right now over on our website, woodtv.com. It's up on our homepage. But if you're watching us on Facebook, you can also find a link directly to this article in the description box or the comments section below. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. Madeline, one last time, thank you so much for stopping by today. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. And I want to thank everybody